Hi, in this video we are going to cover the tips and the tricks of the most important section of IELTS, and that is writing. Now why I say it most important? That's because most of you all might really be struggling to get the required CLB on this skill. So if you want to improve your score, stay tuned. Well, while some of you all must be interested in finding out the real pattern for IELTS, please remember we have already shared a video on that, and for that you can find the link here. Now coming on to the pattern of IELTS writing section, as you know there are two kinds of IELTS. First is academic and the other is general. So in academic writing, task 1 is report writing, while in general writing, task 1 is letter writing. Task 2 remains the same for both of them, and that is write an essay. So let's cover the tips and the tricks for both of them one by one. Now let's begin with task 1 for academic. Now whether academic or general, we have to remember that IELTS itself says that ideally we must be able to give around 20 minutes time to task 1. This is extremely important because most of you all forget to do knowledge management, and if you manage knowledge, you forget to do time management. So we have to remember that we have to make a good balance of both of them. That means whatever we are writing. Now when I say knowledge management, what we tend to do sometimes is we tend to write one thing very good. For example, maybe letter we are writing very nicely, but when it comes to essay we are exhausted, or vice versa. So task 1 is extremely important because it sets the tone for your writing. It also makes you understand that yes, okay, there's enough time left and I can do my essay very well. So for academic people who have to do report writing, they might get charts or tables or at times figures or some other kind of data, which can be a process chart or something. They have to do it in 20 minutes time. You have to remember that you have to write a minimum of 150 words, minimum. My suggestion to practice for such tasks is there are enough number of PDFs available of the writing sheet that you get on IELTS. There are enough number of sites that will give you. Please forgive me for my speaking today. I'm not having very good throat today. Anyway, so coming back to the point. So it's possible, you can download the sheets of writing, and I would suggest you to practice on that so as to make you understand that this is the point where your say 180 words come or 150 words come. Do remember that you have to write a minimum of 150 words, but that does not mean that you have to write out 200, 250 words, because then you will be really exhausting the time limit given to you. So my suggestion is to keep it around 180 words. Do not try to make it ornamental. Stick to the point. Talk about what is given to you. Do not really explain it in details because that's not really possible. Only catch the key things that you can. Try to compare the things. Try to find out which one is higher, which one is lower. Is there also an average trend that's showing? Maybe at times there's a parabola. Maybe at times there's an irregular trend. Maybe at times there is a cyclical trend. Maybe at times there is a steep increase. So talk about such things. Also remember not to repeat the words. So if you are saying some word, for example steep, do not use it again. You can then use other words so as to not sound repetitive, and so as to let them know that you really know how to write. You are not having shortage of words to write and express yourself. Now coming on to the task 1 of letter, that's general people. The most important thing is again the same thing, practice. Please remember that you are practicing on the sheet that IELTS gives you, so as to let you have an idea of writing around 180 words. While writing around 170, 180 can be easy on academic IELTS, it may not be really easy on letter writing. Number one, because in letter they give us a topic and then there are cues. For example, a niece of yours or a nephew of yours has just joined driving school, suggest you have to, so write a letter to them. In the letter you should say why a particular driving school is good for them, what is the technique that they have to keep in mind while driving on road, and so on, 2-3 things. So remember that you will have to write a letter, especially on these points. You really cannot add something on your own. Letters can be formal and informal. Yes, an important question also can be how to start the letter. So they always give you dear. You should say dear dash. So in this dash, you can already think of 2 names. One that you might write here on this dash. Second, that you might have to use if there is a need for writing some name in the letter. Of course, it's possible that I'm writing the letter to Shitanshu and I need to write some name otherwise here also, your friend Joseph. So, 2 names usually work. Okay. Also, please make sure you are not writing, especially this is for people who might be in Indian subcontinent. In their schools and academics, they are told that they are not supposed to write their names and roll numbers. Of course, you can write your name over here, and that's what is required. So please do not end your letter with XYZ. Write your name. For example, if my name is Shailly Nigam, I will write Shailly Nigam. All right. So again, stick to the point. Do not make your letter too long. It should be around 3 passages, 3 paragraph long maximum, and last one end sentence. If you think that there is a need for the introduction in the first sentence, do give the introduction. Also give your introduction, that is, I am so and so, customer of your, let's assume it is for a store manager. So I'm so and so, a customer, a regular customer of your store, name this, and I bought this particular thing, because you might be writing for a complaint. You might be writing for thanking someone, you might be writing letter for requesting someone, or you might be writing letter to inform someone about let's assume the direction to your home. So in all such cases, remember, if there is a taken for granted thing that this person would be knowing you. For example, if it's my nephew, that person would be knowing me, so I need not introduce myself here in the first paragraph. But if it's the store manager or it's the head of the president of the RWA, in that case I need to introduce myself in the first line itself. Also, remember that you have to also say why are you writing this letter. So letter has to be short and crisp and to the point. That was about task 1. Well, now we move on to the second part, and that's the essay writing. Now, for most of you all, it might really come across as a really difficult thing to do, because we have not been really into a habit of writing long letters or essays. So letter is of course small, or report writing is of course small. But essay, they ask you to write a minimum of 250 words. So we have to, first things first, remember that we have to write a minimum of 250 words. Secondly, we will not get more than 40 minutes for this. If you have really done task 1 first, which is what I suggest, start from task 1 so as to save your time for task 2. So if this is what you have done, and may God forbid if you have really not been able to manage your time well, that you might not be really having a good 40 minutes time for this, it might just get more squeezed up. So remember time management. Secondly, again, here we have to remember that words aren't to be repeated. If you have used some word, some particular word, which is a catchy word over there in task 1, try not to repeat it in task 2 until and unless it is needed. Also in task 1, a lot of people start with giving a glossy touch, proverbs, quotes to their introductory paragraph. Remember, that's not required. You just need to restate in the introduction, you just need to restate what has been said in the topic, restate it in your own words, and give your opinion for it. And from the next paragraph, start stating your opinion, start explaining your reasons, if possible with an example or an experience. I rather suggest that writing an experience is something which is more comfortable for writing, also more easy to understand when someone is assessing your paper. So go for the experiences of your own. And lastly comes the conclusion. Also remember not to write the word summary, because summary is different, So sometimes we end up saying to summarize. So it's not the summary, it's conclusion. So you can write in conclusion, to conclude, Do not also write in a nutshell, you can write in a compendium, and so on. Also remember, transition words are extremely important, and they give the direction to what you are saying. For example, words like nevertheless, additionally, furthermore, on the contrary, uh, on the other hand, and so on and so forth. So I wish you good luck for writing.